as a casual observer, are women the problem? Are men the problem? Is it both? Where like do you like from a cultural observation standpoint?
Oh yeah, women are absolutely the problem. Their standards are ridiculously high. 95% of them are after the same 5% of man that doesn't want them. It's like
Well, this video is called "Are Women Destroying Their Own Dating Pool?" This was I was asked to react to this a little while ago. This video is about a month old, but I haven't seen it. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to another Dadvocate video. What's that, Cora? You want them to like the video already? Oh, you also wanted me to tell them that YouTube memberships and Patreon memberships come with early access to videos and members-only lives? What can I say? She's a smart cat. One thing Cora and I have noticed is that women are getting a lot pickier, aren't they? I mean, you can't...
Yes. The answer is yes. We can stop the video now.
I mean, women...
escape it. It's the bar...
To a certain extent, women have always been picky. It's a biological imperative for them to suit a male prime specimen to ensure that they're carrying on, as Sydney Sweeney would say, the best genes, right?
Right.
I do think that, like in the 60s, 50s, and even 70s, as we were transitioning into feminism and women were entering the workforce, women got a lot pickier because back then just an average guy could easily be dating and marry like a 7 or an 8 and be able to support his entire family with his wages. But I think especially now in the modern age, women are ridiculously picky.
Yeah, and mind you, this is not just like I hate all women thing, even though it's super fun, because I agree with you entirely. Between the two sexes, the women should be the ones that are picky because they're the ones that are going to be having the fucking kids. And like, look, I don't want to see ugly or fat kids run around. I don't. I want to see like a nice, strong, blonde-haired, blue-eyed world.
Hey, yo.
Is in hell here. It's men ain't shit here. We've got ick lists. Have you seen the ick lists? Men can't ride bikes. They can't order girly drinks. They can't swim funny. They can't bowl funny. Every day online, it seems, I am warned as a woman that some tiny, superficial, almost meaningless trait is actually a deadly quality in a man that I need to avoid at all costs. And I get having high standards. I get having strong boundaries. I think that people are allowed to have as high of standards for their own dating preferences as they want. I'm not telling you that you can't say that you need a 6-foot-tall, well-hung millionaire. I will say you might be culling your dating market herd expeditiously. I do fear that a lot of these new standards, requirements, or ick lists are just things that are causing us to destroy our own dating pool.
Are you familiar with the ick list, Niet?
Yeah, right. It's the things that put women off men that they're dating, and
Yes,
they can be
exactly.
like innocuous things like the way they say a word, or the fact that they forgot to like open the door for them when they got into the car. And the list just get progressively larger to the point where no man is good for them. Like even when they encounter like a multi-millionaire, if they'll have an ick list for them as well. Like,
well, it's funny that you say exponentially large because Rodimus Prime says I just don't want her to be fat. That's a fine standard. That's a fine standard. You just don't want her to be a fatty. I approve of this standard.
If you compare the standards that men have to the standards that women have, like, men just want somebody who's kind, nice, feminine, not overweight.
Cook all right and don't murder our kids.
Exactly, right? Like we have maybe 3 or 4 things on our list, whereas women have like 100. That's why when you look at like Tinder, Hinge, all of the dating apps, right? Men will swipe left on damn near 60 to 70% of the women. Right, sorry, on 60 to 70% of the women. Women will swipe right on maybe 5 to 10%. And that's why they end up dating the same guy who's playing them
over and over. It's I haven't used dating apps in a long time, but back when I used to, back after my first, major split and whatnot, and I was just trying to get back out there, I was using dating sites. And you're right. Like my requirement was pretty simple. It was along the lines of like, don't be fat. Even people that like I politically disagree with, I was like, you know what? Now, mind you, this is 10, 15 years. About 10 years ago. So this is before the massive political divide we have now. But it was like, even if our politics are different, adults can be adults and have different politics and still get along in other areas. And so yeah, I would even swipe right on people who was like, okay, so they're pro LGBT rights, things like that. It's like, whatever, that's not that big a deal. You can't do that now, but
definitely very fair standards, like refusing to date a guy who doesn't have a job or refusing to date a girl who can't drive. I can understand not wanting to date a guy if he's obsessed with sports, if you hate sports. I can understand not wanting to date a woman who is obsessed with going out partying if you're a total introvert. But how many good men are we throwing right in the garbage over arbitrary bullshit that we heard from women online? Let me give you just one example of this.
The biggest red flag that you should ever have in a man is if he likes anime.
Bro, your voice was a red flag. I'm not sure that you're actually a woman.
I agree with you there.
That was pretty rough. I would like to point out, ladies, I'm gonna blow myself up here for a moment. Ladies, get you a guy that's into anime, because look at all of this. That oftentimes means they have money. All this right here, this shit ain't cheap. So it means they can provide. Just saying. Isn't that one of the standards for women? You need to be able to be a provider?
Yeah, that's what they want, right? To be able to take care of their offspring and make sure they're not in financial dire straits. Look, I'll be honest with you. When I started dating my girlfriend, I have like a spare room that's just filled with all of my books, all of my comic books, all of my manga, all of my DVDs, Blu-rays, all of my fucking video games. And I was like, yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd. I like anime. I like manga. I like comic books. Some of it ties into my work. Most of it is just for fun. That's me. I might game weekly, and I'll watch a whole bunch of movies and TV shows. And if you don't like it, we probably won't be able to date. And she was just like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, yeah, damn right.
Good face, excellent. Like I remember talking with Enzo one time, and he and I came to the same conclusion, which is like, if you're ever trying to date a girl, and you don't tell her you're a YouTuber for at least 3 months, because that's like apparently an insta ick thing for them. It's like, you know what, that actually makes sense. So when people ask me what I do for a living, I'm a public speaker. If it's a pretty girl, I'm a public speaker.
Anime as the biggest red flag.
That was my first thought. The biggest?
I know that it's not all women thinking as such, because a lot of women are anime fans.
Yeah, we don't claim her.
It's just sad that a girl could find a guy that is perfect, that checks all the green boxes, but wouldn't give him the time of day because he loves anime.
Mm-hmm.
Because she considers that as the biggest red flag. Not him being a player or a cheater.
I'm so glad you said, because that's what I was about to say. It's like, what's your biggest red flag? Anime. Well, I got this dude over here. He's raped a couple of bitches, but he fucking hates anime. She's like, all right, we're good to go. Like, biggest red flag, really?
A lying piece of shit, or him putting his hands on women in a violent way. Nah. He loves anime. That's a no-go. That's a red flag.
The creator who sent that to me is a guy named Greg Michaels. You should definitely go check him out. But really, we had the exact same reaction. Like, the biggest red flag, a guy's biggest red flag, you're saying, is if he likes anime. Some women out there, they truly have no sense of self-preservation whatsoever. To me, either I'm reading way too into this or I'm just good at pattern recognition, but she strikes me as the kind of person who learned very early on in life, probably because there was really no sense of urgency for her to do anything else, that being popular, being socially accepted is the number one most important thing above all else.
Now, to be fair, I think that for women, that is far more important than for men.
To be accepted.
Go for it. My bad.
Do you mean like to be accepted by their peers and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly. To have a strong, social circle, to put value in being being accepted by your peers, and to having these sort of very, I don't want to say the word normal, but culturally accepted values and beliefs.
I think so too. I think women are also inherently very social creatures, right? Like my girlfriend meets up with like her girlfriends like 2 to 3 times a week. She'll do like a Muay Thai or like gym class with her female friends. She'll go out to dinner with them. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff, right? Like I'd much rather be working, reading a book and whatnot. So yeah, I do think there's some merit to that.
Well, I mean, shit, Paul Byersmith in the chat's my IRL best friend. I don't think he's come over. I don't think we've hung out in like 3 to 4 weeks. It has not changed our friendship in the slightest. Next time we hang out is the next time we hang out. We'll have a blast, and there'll probably be another 3 or 4 weeks or whatnot. It literally does not impact the friendship whatsoever because we don't need to. It's like I don't know. We don't. I think that men, by and large, obviously there's exceptions to every rule. By and large, don't get that same. I don't know if it's a dopamine hit or whatever validation it is from being, physically around your peers all the time.
Men and women are also neurologically different, right? Men are interested in things and women tend to be interested in people. That's why a lot of women, when it comes to the workforce, tend to favor nursing, childcare, teaching, right? Whereas men predominantly are in the STEM field, engineering, things like that.
Right. Or even lower end. I don't mean lower end in like a negative way, but like as opposed to STEM, which is looked at as a very high class thing, like working, doing mechanic work, or they're in coal mines or on oil rigs. It's just because and mind you, like I've worked plenty of office jobs and whatnot. I typically hated them, but they paid better. One of the favorite jobs I've had have all paid shit, but they've been like when I worked for the park district, and I was the guy that would go around and clean up all the city parks and make sure and repaint the benches and stuff like that. Or when I worked at a warehouse, it was literally, now it wasn't mentally stimulating, so I hated that aspect, but I always felt good after a day working at the warehouse of just like lugging heavy boxes and shit like that. It's just stuff that women aren't inclined to do, which is fine, but you gotta acknowledge that that's the reality
of ensuring that a man has emotional stability.
And on the aspect of men being interested in things and women being interested in people and being social creatures, that inherently leads to more of like a sheep mentality, where in order to be embraced by your peers, you sort of just, you're willing to change who you are to fit the environment that you're in. And because men are not like that, they tend to be more likely than not wolves, right? Like
men tend to change the environment as opposed to themselves.
Exactly.
And that's why men are, by and large, probably the stronger sex.
Can control his temper and attitude even during hard times, is friendly and humble, and takes care of others. No, her number one priority is making sure that she is not seen with some weeb. Like, I'm sorry, but that's all it really comes down to, is that she was conditioned to believe that anybody who watches anime is a nerd, an outcast, someone you just don't want to be seen with. She never...
I wonder if her opinions are change, would change now that it seems that anime is literally it's broken into the public zeitgeist. Like, it's the normal thing. When you've got Demon Slayer trouncing like Fantastic Four, and like, remember, girls fucking hated comic book stuff when we were growing up in the 90s. MCU rolls around, it's the next big thing, and you get what I call Hot Topic nerds. They buy every shirt from the MCU at Hot Topic. All of a sudden, it's cool to be a nerd. How much do you think the gal that said that anime is her biggest red flag, her opinion is going to change probably in the next couple of years?
Yeah, give it 5 years.
Yeah.
grew out of that need to have these cliques and to attempt to be the queen bee of the cool girls. This is a person who established an us versus them at a very early age and is probably just never going to change. I can tell you this is certainly a person who has never actually gotten to know someone who likes anime. Or she's just universally recognized as such a judgmental person that the people in her life who do like anime would never talk to her about it. Because the only reason that anime used to be seen as nerdy or weird back in the day is because it wasn't widely circulated. It wasn't viral. It wasn't super popular, and so people just didn't really understand it. Let's be honest, America was also really mad at Japan for a while. We know now that watching cartoons as adults is perfectly fine, and if we would have known it back then, we wouldn't have completely outcast those people. The only reason those people were outcast was because of people like the person who made this video, not because there's anything actually wrong with anime. Let's take a pretty well-known anime like Pokemon, for example. Talk about a show and a game that has united generations. People are already playing Pokemon with their kids. Where is the red flag there? You want to know something else funny? I bet you every gym crush she has ever had has Dragon Ball Z music on their playlist while they're lifting. Now,
fucking
gotcha, bitch.
based. What was that in the end?
I said, gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember specifically that I've got a playlist. I remember. I don't know why I'm saying this is an active thing. My playlist is called Gallic Gains because Vegeta's main attack is the Gallic gun, and it's just all high T anime music to work out to.
That's awesome.
And it's titled Gallic Gains. Pretty proud of that.
Because of some cultural differences, I can see how some people see anime as maybe being like more perverted than typical American cartoons. Fan service is a thing, but
even that's not the case because like Rocko's Modern Life, you know, his job is he's a sex phone operator, and that's a show for kids. Now it's more subtle, but I wouldn't say it's any less or more perverted. It's just handled differently.
Yeah, I mean, that's also like a very niche show, but
well, not in the 90s when it came out, it wasn't.
Yeah, that and Ren and Stimpy were kind of weird shows, though.
They were very weird shows.
They were very
Ed and Eddie was lower on the tier list, but it was weird as well. Like straight up gross out humor. That's all it was.
Getting on a high horse about it and pretending like American culture is so much more morally superior and above that is delusional. Like, come on, we can be gross too. But more importantly, there is so much more to anime than that. There is probably an anime for every single interest out there in the world. You like to cook, there's an anime.
And this is what I try. I compare anime to fucking sandwiches. Have you ever heard someone say they don't like sandwiches?
Mm-mm.
Because there's a million different kinds. Look, you want your sweet, you get with the Monte Cristo. You like your salty, you go with something that's got like some ham on it or something. And the point is, you got your turkey clubs, you got your grilled cheese. There's a sandwich out there for everybody. Nobody blanket hates like bread, ingredients, bread, fuck it all. Like nobody ever thought anime is the same way. Anime is a medium, not a genre. There's an anime for everyone. Like, dude, I dated this girl. And she saw me watching, you know, things like Dragon Ball, One Piece. She was not fucking into it. But I turned on something called, what was it? The Devil is a Part-Timer. And she was a religious girl. And it was a comedy anime about the devil deciding, you know what? I don't really like being the king of hell anymore. I want to go to the human world and just work at McDonald's. And she thought it was funny as fuck. And she got into it.
That's awesome, yeah.
For that. You like farming, there's an anime for that. Fashion, anime. Like, really think about this. You have decided that the most dangerous and harmful quality that a man could possibly exhibit is being interested in a form of animation that can take on so many various shapes, sizes, worlds, and imaginations.
Huh?
That was the worst thing you could ever think of. And you might be thinking, well, when you phrase it like that, it doesn't sound so bad. Guess what? Because it's never been bad. What I described is what anime has always been. It's just so short-sighted and reductionist to automatically assume that anyone who likes anime must be nerdy or antisocial or childish. Hayao Miyazaki's work, for example, is not only stunningly gorgeous with some of the most well-written characters.
How many people growing up in the 90s and early 2000s and whatnot watched Miyazaki stuff not even knowing it was anime?
A lot.
Like-
I certainly did.
Yeah. My sister is not an anime head in the slightest, but you know what? We had every Ghibli VHS tape and she fucking loved them.
Characters you will ever see, but his work also focuses on compassion, community, resilience, and how our place in nature will be remembered. The reason so many athletes love the story of Naruto, for example, is because it focuses a lot on the bonds between rivals and teammates, as well as things like forgiveness. One Piece is an amazing anime about pirates, which a lot of people treasure for all of their themes of loyalty, friendship, sacrifice. The art's cool, the storylines are great, but guess what? Anime is also good for the economy. Remember the Turkey-Syria earthquakes in 2023? Pokemon donated $5 million to restoration efforts. The creator of One Piece, Oda.
Damn! That's $5 million they could have poured towards their failing lawsuit for Pal World. Fuck Pokemon. That's cool, though.
Also donated $8 million to relief efforts. Anime conventions have raised millions of dollars for hospitals and research as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, but my final response is that if you're gonna call a guy a red flag just for watching anime, that says way more about you than him. Saying it's the biggest red flag tells me that you care more about clout and image than you do about sincerity, honesty, character. Anime fans are engaging with stories that talk about friendship, perseverance, and creativity.
Now, what do you think this woman, not this one's talking, but the one we're talking about, her responsibility if a guy said, yeah, that's my biggest red flag is being a fan of Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey or something.
How dare you? That is extremely toxic and whatnot. Hey, no, this woman here makes a really good point that her biggest red flag has nothing to do with ethics, morality, that he's not an alcoholic, that he's not an abuser, that he doesn't gamble. It's that he prefers a niche form of art. Like, yeah, it says more about her than anything else.
And we're focusing on just this one gal. But I mean, this is the more just a niche version of an overarching issue with the the modern day woman. Again, obviously obligatory, not all women,
Not
but
all
like
women.
the modern day, what we're the postmodern woman, as well as say by and large the postmodern woman.
But we've seen the before and after, Leon. The before is these are my red flags, and it's all these things that are that shouldn't have been prioritized and should have been at the top of the list. And then 10 years later, when she's like in her late 20s, early 30s, you see the after video, which is, why can I not find a man? They're crying in their car, recording video to their camera, uploading it to TikTok or YouTube, saying, every man that I meet is a piece of shit. Because that's the kind of man that you're attracted to, you dumb bitch.
This is my favorite Niet.
Obsessing about how your boyfriend's hobbies are going to look on your Instagram story. Which one of those is the real red flag? And like I always say, you're allowed to have whatever kind of preferences that you want for dating. If she doesn't like anime, she doesn't get it, it's not her thing, and she'd rather date someone with more common interests, that's fine. But calling liking it the biggest red flag is the thing that I just can't get past. You definitely don't have to date anybody who likes anime. It's just that why are you painting them to other people as people who are dangerous? When we have men, like Greg said, actually laying hands on women, emotionally harming them, cheating on them, you'd rather get cheated on.
Dude, I don't know. I'm going to take a wild guess and be like, Andrew Tate probably doesn't watch or like anime. I would imagine most women, if they thought about it for just one moment, would take the anime fan over the Andrew Tate or the Andrew Tate wannabe.
Agreed.
It's such a short-sighted thing for women to say. And I don't know. It's such a weird sentiment.
On the know that your man watched an episode of Fairy Tale. Honey, I'm home. Oh my God.
Okay, all right. Well, to be fair, Fairy Tale is a red flag, women. Fairy Tale fucking sucks. Get yourself a man with some quality.
Oh, thank God. That's just another woman in our bed. I thought you were reading Inuyasha. Okay, time to go over our monthly bill. What is this? Oh, thank God. It's just a gambling addiction. I thought he was buying anime again. I'm
Wow, you called it with the gambling thing.
Yeah.
just going to check his drawers for something. Oh, God. Oh, thank God it's just a crack pipe. I thought it was manga. Do you hear how crazy that sounds? And again, like maybe this is a good thing. I'm glad that she is letting this all be known so that people who like anime and are good men can just avoid that situation. But I do want to pose the question because I have my own theories. Do you think that there's a chance that her immediate judgment and dismissal of hobbies and interests that don't particularly align with her own are going to bleed negatively into other aspects of her dating life, even if they don't involve people who like anime? Because I myself definitely don't watch as much anime as my husband does, but if I were to hear someone making fun of someone else just for liking anime, I would think a lot less of that person. I just think she's a bully.
Well, in terms of the question, like, will it bleed? Will the hobbies and stuff bleed into her dating life? I think it's actually even, in my theory, and I'd love to hear yours, Nia, it's even worse than that because it seems that she's emotionally mature and that she still focuses on things like, hobbies and shared interests over shared moral values. Because, I mean, you may sound like, and I could be wrong, but you may sound like you and your girlfriend don't particularly share a lot of hobbies, but I would wager a guess the reason things have worked out so well is because you do share an aligned moral code.
Yeah, we have the same broadly. We have the same ethics, sense of morality, ideals. We initially didn't share the same hobbies, but we're sort of meeting in the middle a lot more and more the longer that we've been dating. So yeah. But I think
that's normal as well. There's things that, I never would have done or had an interest in or whatnot, if not for getting into it because my ex-wife got me into it or something like that. So yeah, that's also normal. That's part of being in a healthy relationship.
Well, and the hobbies and interests that you have are based on what what's introduced to you, right? And unless you're introduced into something, you're not going to know whether or not you like it. So,
right.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to cook until I was in my fucking mid-20s because my first wife went to school for cooking. She did all the cooking. After we split, my roommate loved to cook. That was his thing. Once I lived on my own, it was like, oh, I don't know anything about this. And I learned it. It turns out it's my fucking favorite thing to do. I'm obsessed with it. I love doing it just as a hobby. It started off as just I need to do this to survive. Now it is a hobby / work of art, in my opinion.
Who likes to pick on nerds. And I don't think she realizes how much of the cool guys that she actually likes are secretly nerds. I think this take is going to come back and bite her hard. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's any truth to there being red flags behind people who really like anime? How would you feel if one of your friends or someone you knew had this opinion? Have you ever had a potential partner say something like this to you? I want to know what you guys think about this one. It made me a little bit mad, but you tell me what you think. If you enjoyed my commentary, please like the video, subscribe to my channel for more, and you can even turn on the notification bell if you want some alerts on when I go live. All right, that's about all I've got for you today.
All right, chat, this is a good video. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you guys in case you want to check it out or check out more of our content. We reacted to one of our videos before, and it was pretty good. But yeah, all in all, I think that this speaks to a broader issue of, like, this is the same sort of mentality that you had with, like, Tipper Gore and the video games cause violence crowd. It's like there's of course, going to be weird, crazy, violent people in any sort of interest or hobby because those are weird, crazy, violent people. But with such a broad brush paint any hobby as a red flag, I think that's an indictment on the modern woman more than it is anything.